Oh, Boka, have you ever played No Man's Sky in Waddle Concept?
No.
Amazing game. Highly recommend.
We will totally play eventually.
I mean, not right now, but it was more of like a suggestion for the future.
Already on the suggestions list.
Like, you won't forget you have one of those.
Oh, you like this video? Alright, I gotta kick you out. Wah.
Yeah, I was about. I did ask you earlier if you wanted me to skedaddle, and yeah, that's perfectly fine. Right, have fun, Boka.
Bye, Wawa. Love you, Wawa.
You too, Boka. Toodaloos and tatas.
You've watched this 10 times? Why? Is it that amazing? Alright, we're gonna watch this, guys.
Sponsored by that game everyone loves.
Why Chinese subtitles? I don't know. This is by Internet Historian, which I'm starting to really like his videos. I'm gonna say that. I really liked the last one I watched. So this is what a lot of people have been wanting me to watch. I'm guessing you guys want me to play this game, so that's why you're like, what's this video, Boka? This might be the game we bring to the YouTube channel once I get my internet fixed. We may have the error finally cornered.
Just a racing.
All right, let's go.
Unlock the secrets of the cosmos. Questions we once thought impossible to answer are within our grasp. Where does the sun go at night? Is math related to science? If the universe is so big,
Is math related
then
to
why
science? Why would you ask such a terrible question?
won't it fight me? As we look further into the universe, we see light from distant stars, eons old, perhaps hundreds, even thousands of miles away. Hold on, can I get a zoom in on that?
You bet I can. This is one of the world's most powerful telescopes. Initiating 6 times zoom.
Can this baby do 7?
I can do you one better. Maneuvering to 8 times zoom.
Pressure rising, holding steady. I can see it. Unblur.
It won't hold.
Get me 8.5 times.
You're a madman.
Upscale it to 4K.
The helium tanks will go critical.
Opening the blinds.
What the
Hold her
hell?
steady. Uncropping and increasing aspect ratio. Now, punch it. There it is. Life on another world. And to think, we owe it all to one indie development studio. Hello Games.
Which people, from what I understand, Hello Games is like one of the most loved developers now.
Let's start at the beginning.
From what I understand, if I remember correctly, the head developer, like the guy that runs the studio, he got too excited and started promising too much.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Oh no.
Okay, the year is 2009, Guildford, England. There's a man named Sean Murray, and he's just founded a company called Hello Games. Sean and the boys are working hard on a brand new IP called Joe Danger. 2010 AD, the game just came out. It's a success. They're a small team, but they are ambitious. Let's do something bigger, said Sean. Let's reach for the stars. How about Joe Danger 2? Brilliant! It's 2012. Joe Danger 2 has just come out. But that one doesn't perform as well. We need to do something even bigger than Joe Danger 2. Joe Danger 3? No. Even more out of this world. Something no man has done before.
Oh my god.
Joe Danger the mobile game? Yes! And that came out in 2014. Seriously, guys, biggest thing you can think of. I'm just a stock image, dude. Why don't you think of something? Sean pondered for a moment, then turned and
I love how the silly jokes he just does. Or you're like, wait, what?
looked wistfully into the mirror. Reflected back was the visage of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
If you're going to make a space game, first person, it's never been done before. How about that? I'm going up in orbit to repair the hull.
And I love how when like he does like these little clip things, he makes it so obvious that he edited it together.
Whole telescope? So that's not a knife. Who are you gonna have sex with? How much microwaves are coursing through your body now?
Planet, said Murray. Space game. Procedural generation. Planet. Okay, that sounds good. Yes, we all agree. So they set to work, cobbled together a prototype, and by VGX 2013, they are ready to announce another new IP.
Don't you just miss those? But before the corporate started sneaking its way into gaming events. This is when he started going downhill.
No Man's Sky.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Oh, this is special.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
This is special.
Yes. No!
It's 2014, and it's E3 hype time. No Man's Sky has promised to be a game like no other. A practically boundless experience vibrant with life and color and things to explore. What's over there? You'll have to be the one to discover it. And then, wow, look at that big f***ing dinosaur, holy shit. And a moment later, we're in space, having a battle amongst a giant fleet. Claim a planet as your own. Explore the galaxy with your friends. Okay, that's it. This is gonna be the best game ever, you guys. It even won awards for its hype. And it will release in June 2016. The hype train was officially loading up and ready to chug out of the station. At every stop of the journey, there would be press junkets talking about the amazing scale of the game.
And this is where he should not have done these. Like, if he did do these, he should have, like, really managed expectations.
Spread across 18 quintillion planets. It's so vast that by the time you finish exploring it all, I would have 2 new videos published.
He called himself out.
Sean himself was doing the interviews, because who is better to talk about the game than the lead guy himself? He went from interview to interview, and with each question, the answers he gave raised people's expectations of the game's scope.
Can you land on a comet?
Yeah, at the moment you can land on asteroids.
You could encounter other players.
Can you grief other players?
A little bit.
They're literally building your own, like, massively multiplayer world that's procedurally generated.
Sand planets like in Dune, rivers, walking sentinels, hacking. So sophisticated that light diffracts through the atoms, they had to redevelop the whole periodic table to make it work.
What?
Even Elon Musk was hyped for it. 2 years go by. It's early 2016, and that hype train is really moving now. Perhaps one of the biggest in video game history. Reddit was shoveling most of the gamer fuel. Skeptics and naysayers are treated as ballast and thrown from the carriage doors. Pre-orders open, and they are doing very well. The date is booked in. Some are even taking the day off work. So much hype there is that... uh-oh. Jason Schreier of the soon-to-be defunct Kotaku is about to spoil the party. He announces a delay. From June 2016 to August.
Oh my god!
Liar, the incensed audience cries. Please be quiet, they said. And death threats too. But he was 100% right. A week later, the delay is officially announced. Ooh, sorry lads, we need more polish, said Sean in his usual accent. To that, Sean received some death threats too, by the way, although he didn't take them as seriously or go to the police. Yet.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
But the impatient crowd relaxed a bit.
You don't
They
say!
said, fine, we will wait. But we expect a level of polish no man has ever seen. Speaking of waiting, Shadow Man here. Have you heard of Rady Shady?
Oh my god. He got me with this one. He got
My
me.
wife died in a plane crash.
We'll watch it because he
let's
got
get
me.
serious for a moment. Raid isn't just a game with 15 million downloads in the last 6 months. It's a lifestyle. Think differently. Play Raid differently. Achieve your
Before I spray you with raid.
dreams. I'm sorry, sir. You've contracted raids. That's good. Congratulations, it's Gorgorub of the Undead Horde.
My life, goodness.
You just collected one of over 400 champions. Why, hello there. Have you heard about the online RPG PvP? It's extremely well reviewed on the Play Store. Oh, you remind me of my wife. Raid is more than just a game. It's a reassuring
I
pat on the back
swear
when
he's
you're there.
unhinged.
It's a warm bowl of soup on a cold night. It's one last dance at your wife's funeral. If you haven't played in the arena yet, I'm gonna break into your house. You're all getting Raid for Christmas, kids. Yay! And if you download now, kids, using the link in the description below, you can get an extra 50k silver and an epic champion. Wow, you're the best dad ever. Wait, Mum's dead?
Raid Shadow Legends.
I
Add
swear.
So let's talk about the team in charge of all that polishing. It's small. Tiny. In fact, I haven't been able to find a smaller team behind a AAA release. All of these expectations are on the shoulders of just 6 people, expanding to a team of 15 by the end of production.
Oh god.
July. It's just a couple of weeks until the release date. Whatever the state of the game by now, however much it's finished, that's what's going out. The Hello Games team celebrates with this iconic image.
The quintessential soy face.
They're exhausted. Look at what video game production does to a man.
God, what's wrong with your face?
Nonetheless, they continue, working on the day 1 patch, and... uh-oh. Sean, if your game isn't coming out for another 2 weeks, then why is there a box copy on eBay? That's right, it's a leak. Someone broke the embargo and is selling early access to the highest bidder. And the bids start rolling in. It reaches $1,300 US, sold to some guy with the Reddit handle Damien. He gets his hands on it and starts uploading footage to YouTube and Dailymotion. What the frick? Said Sean and Sony. Damien finished it a lot quicker than expected, but he gave it a decent review.
There are things I don't like, there are things I like, but at the end of the day, when I say to myself, what is this game supposed to be? This, what I'm looking at right here, this is what the game is supposed to be.
He noted a few problems, but said he was optimistic that they would be ironed out with the day 1 patch.
Here's the thing, though. How did it even get to him? Well, I guess they didn't think he was gonna upload it.
Sean? It's another leak. Some retailers broke the official release date. Journalists too. And they started streaming playthroughs of the game.
That's why they should have struck. That's why they strike down people's early reactions now, if they're too early. Is because if they let just a YouTuber do it, game reviewers will do it. And especially these websites, they're not supposed to do it.
Game. What the Sony tried to DMCA all these videos, but their aim was terrible.
Round of applause, everyone. We've officially become No Man's censored by Sony.
Our news story from earlier this week about No Man's Sky leaks has been hit with a copyright strike on YouTube.
They went bumbling around from platform to platform, just taking down any video that even talked about the leak or showed the trailer footage. But it was too late. The footage had people talking more skeptically about the game. Especially because there were no early review copies.
That's bad.
And it was looking like the weight of all these expectations had become too much. And the whole thing was about to give.
Yeah,
Oh no.
He overhyped it.
It's August. Everyone's here. We've all bought the game and we're fucking hyped. Here we go, lads. Oh dear lord, it isn't finished. Hello, Sean. It is me, the auditor of games. I used to work at an astronomy lab. Don't worry about that. It seems like you've made a lot of promises. Promises that you have not kept. Let's go through the checklist. Have you got any large-scale joinable space battles?
Nobody would want that.
Ringed planets?
No. No.
Fine. Well, at least let me play as a trader.
Some may call this junk. Me, I call them...
No.
Those sand planets from June look nice. Think I might... Please, Sean, there must be rivers.
No, it's not.
Animals interact with each other in the environment?
No.
Packs of walking sentinels, Sean.
No.
I'm literally crying right now. Should I even ask whether I can play as a space pirate?
Oh dear. I remember that apparently the list was huge.
No.
Factions with different attributes.
You picked the wrong house, fool! Oh!
Fly between star systems manually.
But nobody's actually done it yet.
If I can maneuver like in the trailer, I'll still be happy.
No.
Well, day-night cycles determined by the orbit of the sun.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Land on an asteroid, radio chat, and name your ship, hacking, portals. All that stuff about the elements, Sean.
No.
This is not good, Sean. This is very not good. And ironically, the only bugs this game doesn't have are the butterflies in the demo. Buried buildings, aggressive emojis, tractor beam malfunctions, animal husbandry, oil slick world, raining grass, retarded animals doing retarded things. Ship's interiors disappear, first person mode as a gun. That's not how flying works. That's my only means of transportation, leaving the planet. Take off. Really take off. Holes in the map. Holes in my graphics card. Whole lot of nothing from down here. Textures bugging out, animals bugging out. Animals breakdancing. Look at these busy hands. Hello there.
Busy.
And a couple of unrequested ejector seats.
Well, that person did.
Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I get the picture.
It is.
No wait, poor graphics rendering. Some can't even start the game. Frame rate issues, constant crashes. Major publications are having trouble playing the game on their machines. Even the best 1080 Ti's are stuttering. Alt-tabbing? That's a guaranteed crash. Desktop notifications? That's a crash. Playing the game? That's a crash. Changing options in the game without restarting? You'll get this. And if you got the pre-order version with the bonus spaceship, you might have a problem. Your special ship already comes with a hyperdrive inside it. Great, right? No, because you have to craft it in order to finish the tutorial missions. And if you haven't finished the tutorial missions, you can't leave the star system. So whoops, until they patch it, you're stranded.
Oh no.
That's why I give my kids
No Man's Sky.
a fool.
Ah, my shit's in bits!
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick note about how high expectations were for this game, and just how many people bought it on release. Myself included. Over 750,000 purchases on Steam at launch. It's the single best-selling game on the PlayStation Store that month. And the large proportion of people who bought it in the hopes of playing with their friends, well, you're in for a surprise. This one is a literal game changer.
Is it even possible
Yeah, it
to meet
wasn't
up with
a
your friends in
multiplayer
No
at
Man's
first.
Sky? The answer is absolutely yes, it's possible.
On multiple occasions, Sean said it was definitely in the game.
Will you be able to play with your friends?
Yeah.
Can you run into other people, other players on the game?
This is one of those people that never learned to say no.
Yes.
But then just before the release, Sean posted this cryptic tweet. To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not a multiplayer game. Please don't go in looking for that experience. Oh, what? So there's no multiplayer function? But then the next line contradicts that. Because the chances of two players ever crossing paths in a universe this big is pretty much zero. Oh, so it is multiplayer. You just have to overcome this finding each other hurdle.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah! Right? No, it's more
No.
confusing than that, because the box doesn't mention online play, just network features. And the collector's edition had its online play icon stickered over. So customers are going, which one is it, Sean? Just tell us if it has multiplayer or it doesn't have multiplayer. Sean wouldn't give any answers. But after hundreds of thousands of purchases, people soon took it upon themselves to find out. Despite the claims that it would be so improbable,
Chances that are incredibly rare, just because of the size and vulnerability.
on the very first day, two people noticed they were only 4 star systems from one another, and they met up on the same planet in a live stream. Oh dear.
A black pillar.
Our streams are exactly lined up. If you go look at my stream, we're looking at the exact same area right now if you don't move.
I mean,
Yep,
kinda.
that's the same spot. And they can't see each other.
I'm alone!
That settles it. It's not multiplayer because it's so big. It's not multiplayer because it's just not fucking multiplayer. And this led to quite a revolt. What did Sean have to say about all this? So amazing, 2 people found each other on the first day. That has blown my mind.
So why can't we see other players in game?
Wow, so many of you playing.
Yeah, Sean, but what?
Truly amazing. My mind is blown.
Wait, is that an actual comment?
So what's the game actually like then?
Is it any good? That is a difficult thing to say.
Well, it certainly is stylish and pretty, and there are a lot of places to explore. But that doesn't mean there's much to find. In fact, the game boils down to a very simple loop. Hold down the trigger to pick up resources, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. Hold down the trigger, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. Hold down the trigger, deal with a full inventory, leave the planet, go to another planet, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. That's it. $60, ladies
Awesome
and gentlemen.
show, by the way.
Refuel your multi-tool, refuel your life support, refuel a separate part of your multi-tool that shoots bullets instead of the mining beam, refuel your launch thrusters. It's busy work that makes it look like you have something to do. It's not real.
How dare you?
What followed was one of the most dramatic crashes in player numbers in gaming history. Sales in the UK fell by 80%.
This video aged poorly in the best way possible. That's not the biggest drop ever in history anymore.
1% in the second week. Concurrent players on Steam dropped from 212,000 in August to just over 2,000 by September and fewer than 1,000 by October. And what followed that was perhaps the biggest pile-on in gaming history. Reviewers on YouTube panned the game.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You done fucked it up!
I had no hype, and I can tell you that, even without that disappointment, this game is hot garbage.
Has anyone coined Sean Mourinho yet?
Numerous times within the first 2 hours of the game, I kept saying, this is it, fuck this shit.
Reviewers in the media were almost as harsh.
Devastating realization that most of the crafting, combat, and other activities you do on and between those planets ranges between bemusing and outright bad.
The criticism was deafening. And a lot of it really funny and creative. Krobycat made a video that captured the sentiment of that day, and if you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out. So people are furious. The game is boring, and soon people discover that complaining about the game is actually more fun than playing it.
Wait, I'm now 3.5 hours into the tutorial pretty much.
So they started complaining about it like they were grinding for an achievement.
This sucks.
Fucking Minecraft in space!
Many people made compilations of all the unfulfilled promises.
Yeah, I remember seeing those.
One guy on the subreddit compiled a big list of all the missing features. Front page. Got a defense for No Man's Sky? Enjoy your downvote. In fact, the entire No Man's Sky subreddit was in such disarray it had to be locked. So by the end of the month, Metacritic was like scrolling through a bowl of Cheerios. By October, it was one of the worst rated games on Steam, with an aggregate of mostly negative from more than 70,000 reviews. The outrage at the game was headline news for weeks on dozens of games news publications, and the price on eBay and Amazon and secondhand at GameStop.
You know what's funny? I got this game for like $10, I think, on Steam right before they started doing all the updates.
Was crashing through the floor.
I was
Please,
like, yeah,
no
sure,
more.
it'll be allowed.
But the beatings had only just begun. The demo planet was data mined and found to be, of course, totally scripted and not randomly generated at all.
I've just got to pick one of these at random. If anything horrible goes wrong, just keep in mind that I've not been here before.
It wasn't some level that we built or something like that, even though I think it looks quite nice in places.
People watching this would wonder why you're showing this area again. Like, what's so special about demoing the game on this planet?
Oh, no, it's just a place that looks nice.
No, bad Murray.
I could have ended the demo with some, pre-scripted crazy thing that would happen. You know what I mean? The normal thing of like, and then a monster emerges from behind the mountains,
Oh no.
People see what's going on with the game and feel lied to. This is false advertising, they say, and angry customers start scoping out a lawsuit. On September 28th, the ASA busts through the door and goes, "Yep, too many complaints. We're going to investigate." But then soon after, the ASA cleared them of any legal wrongdoing. Technically, the only thing they're interested in is what's on the back of the box, what's on the store page, and what's on the Steam page. So it's technically not false advertising. But of course, technically not illegal doesn't mean much to an angry audience. October 28th, Hello Games Twitter is hacked. The hacker posts, "No Man's Sky was a mistake," and is shitting on the game in the replies. Turns out Sean didn't use two-factor authentication on his LinkedIn, and that's how they got in. They also sent discrediting emails to journalists, which they knew would rile people up if published. Some people even show up to their offices to take photos and knock on the door, even at night and on the weekend. They posted empty pictures of the office, so, naturally out of context, this started rumors that Hello Games simply took the money and ran. This in addition to numerous bomb and death threats during that period. Those ones Sean did have to take seriously.
Well, obviously.
Regular intervention from police and Scotland Yard and things like that.
And while Sony didn't quite throw them under the bus, it was more like a gentle push under a minivan when Sony President Shohei Yoshida admitted that Hello Games did not have a great PR strategy for No Man's Sky. The press took the ball with that one and ran. But despite all of this, all of the negative press, they were actually nominated for a couple of awards. But by this point, Murray and the other members of Hello Games were so downtrodden and so sure they weren't going to win that they opted to go elsewhere for dinner.
And the Innovation Award goes to No Man's Sky. Oh, bro. This lovely trophy going once.
Whoops.
I'm going to accept this on the behalf of Hello Games, and congratulations to them. And I'm going to walk off stage like I planned that whole thing.
By this point, you've got to feel just a little bit sorry for them.
A little bit.
And then what followed that was the final straw for many. No particular incident, but a lack of incidents. Silence. Over 3 months of not a damn word from No Man's Sky. Where are they? Where is my refund? Where is Murray? Shouted into the void. The game was over. And it was dead. The year is 2000 AD.
Wait, that's too far!
Sean has just graduated from university
Oh.
and is headed into the big wide world. He rises up the ranks at a number of studios, eventually working as a technical lead for Black and technical director for Burnout 3. When Burnout's developer is bought by EA, he is in his late 20s. And he and 3 of his buddies decide to leave and start their own studio, Hello Games. This was a risky venture.
So we'd done this incredibly foolish thing of like quitting our jobs, and then we had to sit down and try and decide what the game was going to be.
Together they create their first title, Joe Danger. They work on this game day and night. In fact, even once they were arrested in their own office because the police thought they were there to rob the place, because who would be working at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night? But they had to work that hard. Like any startup, it was a huge financial and professional risk. They had no income. They were working in a tiny room above an old tile shop, living off savings. And to keep the project running, Sean even sold his house.
So we made a really tough and probably at the time seemed really foolish decision. It's kind of almost embarrassing for me to talk about. I sold my house and just basically went all in and funded what we were doing, which is not something I would recommend anyone else do.
But by June 8th, 2010, they had done it. The game was good, and they could breathe a sigh of relief because on the very first day it hit the PlayStation Store, they made their money back. 2 years later, Joe Danger 2 was released. It was not the commercial success they had hoped for, and they didn't want to just keep pumping out sequels. That was a trap big players in the industry had fallen into. In his spare time, Sean started working on a prototype for a procedurally generated game. They took another gamble and scrambled to get a trailer out in time to present at VGX 2013. So the project is official now, and the pressure is on. Around this time, Sean is also looking to start a family. Concurrent to all this development, he would go on to have 3 kids, so the weight of responsibility is really piling on. But their hard work will pay off, as they're finally going to have a chance for some R&R around Christmas.
No. Not allowed.
They woke up to find their homes flooded, their cars submerged, and their plans for Christmas Day very much ruined.
Bad news. Rain. Rain and flooding in the south of England, right around the Hello Games office. They are completely inundated and they return from their holidays to find laptops floating around at waist height. But some good news, they hadn't lost any data. So they pull together. Soldier on. Development continues. So there they are, working in a damp office, and then ding dong. Ooh, who's at the door? It's Danish mathematician Dr. Johan Gerlis. He's seen the game, and he says, "They are using my super formula," in perfect English, and there is a potential for a lawsuit. Sean says they didn't, and he can prove it. So they have a meeting, and the claim is eventually dropped. Lawsuit evaded. So back to work, guys. Ding dong. It's Sky Television. They've seen the game.
"You are infringing on our Sky trademark,"
they said in perfect text-to-speech. They had succeeded in getting Microsoft to change SkyDrive to OneDrive, and they were about to give gamers No Man's 1 under threat of lawsuit. But this lawsuit didn't just go away. The threat loomed over them for the next 3 years, right up until the month before release. So they get back to work and...
Which, how do you own the word Sky?
Dong. It's Sony, with some good news for once. "We like your game, kid. We want to feature it front and center and make you a big star." This could mean millions of dollars in additional revenue. They said, yeah. But along with it, a lot of press for this game would need to be done. Being a small team, they didn't have anyone for PR. They had their designers, they had their developers, and that was about it. So it's up to Murray. Sean's in his...
That was the worst decision they made, and I think even Murray agrees.
His early 30s now. Not super young, but relatively young, and inexperienced for this type of media circuit. This deal with Sony put extra pressure on them. It set deadlines. It's not that it's Sony's fault, but they're locked in now with much less flexibility. So when May rolls around, and they have no option but to delay, even if they wanted to ask for an extra 6 to 12 months of development, which they really need, it's probably too much to ask for. So they extend from late June to August. Only 6 weeks. From here, you can predict what's going to happen to multiplayer and a bunch of other promised features. So here's how the hype happened. Scope of game. Time. And here's the line which shows the reality of development. progress is steady and ends in August 2016. Now here is the line of player expectations. It should start out here and follow along the purple, but the overhyping trailer comes out and puts us way up here. In this trailer, it features a bunch of things that Hello Games thinks they're capable of having in the game by 2016. That's the first big mistake. Then it's announced for play.
Yeah. It was kind of overhyped at the beginning.
PlayStation, and it costs $60, and there's a collector's edition. Second, even bigger mistake. That puts us all the way up here. And I think this is the main problem, because price tags set expectations. For a $60 game, this was seriously barren and disappointing. Now, if they had put it out for $20 as
Imagine $70 for worse?
an indie game or an alpha, no problem. But when they gave it the AAA treatment, people rightfully aligned their expectations with other...
Yeah, I do think that that might have not helped, is the PlayStation backing, giving it that tag and basically being like, oh, AAA game. So yeah, I think Sony could have backed them, but not like thrown all the way in at the start, so that everyone's expectations would have been still kind of managed.
The games in that category. That is the main reason customers' expectations were so skewed. Then Murray went to interviews, exacerbating the problem. Every time he mentioned a feature in the game, even in passing, fans set their expectations to AAA heights for that feature. Now, some people think the interviews are the main problem. In my humble opinion, not so much.
No.
Most people never saw these interviews.
Yeah, most people
It's
didn't see
not
them.
that rickety 12-foot ladder Sean's standing on that's the main problem. It's the 900-foot building he's perched it on in the first place. So the obvious solution here would be an official statement. Hey guys, look, don't expect a 10 out of 10. Expect more of a 5 out of 10. No, the publisher just sank an enormous investment of marketing and opportunity into the game.
What's wrong with you?
And that would be a huge middle finger to them. The publisher isn't going to make you hype the shit out of your game, but you can't talk it down either. So, he's kind of stuck up there. In some way,
he's kind of stuck there. He can't say no to these things, but he really shouldn't say yes. He should be like, I don't know how he could have done it. I guess maybe he could have been like, we were on par for what we expect. If he had kept it managed, I think there'd be a lot less hate.
it's during the interview he tries to temper expectations, but it's limited.
Can you build a space station?
No.
We'll talk about that after.
But let's not gloss over the interviews. Sean is a technical guy. He's a developer. He's also the introverted type. And the big lights and the stuff on camera does not come naturally to him.
Makes you hella nervous, and you start sweating everything down your back. I should know. Introvert.
Is it super nerve-wracking to talk on stage at E3?
Yes. Yes, definitely. I personally find going on stage at E3 like the hardest thing I've ever done. That's something...
You wouldn't be able to get me to do it. I'd stand there and just stare at the crowd. I'd probably like turn into
that
like a puddle.
I would have had in a nightmare before. You know what I mean? It's
Literally
that
the
kind
hardest
of
thing you've ever done?
Yeah.
To give you an idea, in high school, I could not. Like, only one teacher ever helped me with basically saying, everyone just stare straight ahead. Okay, you can do your, like, your announcement from your seat. Like, everyone looked down. Like, we had this thing in the business class where everyone would put their heads on their table when people did announcements, so that the people doing their talk wouldn't be too embarrassed. Like, everyone would put their heads on the desk, so that, like, because a lot of us in that class just had terrible anxiety. I think near the end of the year we had to like at least stand up, because he said all the tiny steps count, and I think at the end our last like, what do they call them again? Well, whatever. We had to stand up and do it. Like, we didn't have to go to the front of the class, but no one put their heads down, and we had to stand up.
Yeah. Still, he stepped up and...
But yeah, I had a lot of classes where they wanted me to stand in front of the class, and I was like, no, I'll take the 0. Most of them usually let me at least just stand up, because they realized that... But, like, I had 1 or 2 classes that made me stand in the front of the class. And let me tell you, they never did that again. Because I would just stand there for like a good solid 2-3 minutes where I would be like, I twitch. And then I'd like slowly like whisper out what I said.
Took interviews for his game from 2013 to 2016. And the main thing people wanted to hear about were the features.
Can you have more than...
So every planet, will there be wormholes?
Right.
At what point
Do you get points or anything?
From these interviews, people took Sean to be a liar, a Peter Molyneux or a chess club member out to sell his game at whatever reputational cost. But I think the truth is more complicated than that. Sean and the team are indie developers working on a new IP. Their project and plans are constantly in flux. They have no idea how large chunks of the game are going to look, especially not a couple of years out from release. And crucially, Sean doesn't understand that something mentioned in 2013, even said in passing, is going to be seen as a promise in the year
Yeah, I think that was the problem. He's a developer. He's never done like public speaking because he's an introvert, and he's never like had to manage expectations for a game.
2016, even if by then you've decided to cut it from the game. For example, orbiting around the sun.
Day has turned it out because the planet has actually rotated on its axis.
This originally was in the game, but it caused the player too much confusion. It kept being reported as a bug in the beta, as people left the planet and then returned to find everything different. But nonetheless, into the lying compilation it goes. So while there's still essentially
I had heard that was in the game. Hi, Dead Man!
formulating the
You can't eat
game,
my
the
femur.
media all want
You
a piece
die
of
before you
Sean
got
and to
to it.
report on features first. Conversely, Sean thinks the reporters might help him to temper down things by emphasizing that Hello Games is an indie studio. But that is not how journalism is done.
Should not have expected the journalism to help him, because it was around this time where journalism started to take a dip.
This is how journalism is done.
Can you customize the look of your character?
Sort of.
Full customization confirmed in No Man's Sky. Periodic table to create atmospheric particles that would diffract light at just the right wavelength.
Who the fuck told you? The press kind of operates downstream from the community because things are click-driven as to what stories you get served and things like that. But a rumor would surface from Reddit straight to the front page.
There's all this hype, and the project has increased in scope dramatically,
Because
and
I had
keeps
heard he
increasing as the
actually
months
said
go
that.
by, until a point. They are close to the deadline,
Where he
and
said
have to
something
delay.
similar, but it wasn't exactly that.
And the reality of what they can achieve in the little time remaining is staring them in the face. They know they're not going to be putting out a finished game. They're worried. There's nothing more they can do. And the fear that they will disappoint the audience is growing on Sean and the team.
I worry about like disappointing people.
Upon release, all of these clips are seen as proof that Sean is a liar. And what doesn't help is his body language. I mean, it's kind of the body language of someone who is lying.
It's just an introvert's body language. He doesn't feel comfortable. He doesn't like being in the center of attention.
And this is why I mentioned he's an introvert. Remember, he's a technical lead. Actually, a really good one. But not a salesman. Cut him just a little bit of slack, because this is simply how he talks. Here are some innocuous questions, and he answers them honestly.
Lead producers on No Man's Sky?
Yeah, I guess I'm a developer on it. I suppose the
creator or something like that. No, I really like making games. I don't necessarily love talking about making games.
I think you did a good job,
even though you guys are very nice.
Mate, seriously.
Same body language. And Jesus Christ, they have him up on stage and in front of cameras and bright lights and on the goddamn Colbert Report. Try keeping your nerve on that. Nonetheless,
I would die.
Free of that context, the clips have him cemented in the community as a liar.
Colette got it back. Stabby.
So the graph plays out right to
Gotcha.
release.
Your Steam account
And
back
that
then.
graph, it's actually a track. And that track is what the hype train runs on. So it comes barreling up the hill. Instead of neatly pulling into the station, it comes crashing right through the roof. The disaster unfolds. They are absolutely shit on. So there were Sean and Hello Games, surrounded by the rubble of their former reputation. Punished Sean was at his lowest point, hated by the majority of the gaming community. But they were still alive, and they had made tens of millions of dollars. They were left with two choices. Take the money, start a new project, and be a pariah, a cautionary tale of the industry and hated by the gaming community forever. Or pick themselves up, get back to work, and with potentially no profit motive, finish the game.
It allowed me to do something that I've always done in difficult times, whether it was crappy bosses that I've dealt with before or crappy situations at school growing up. I got my head down, I sat in front of a computer, and I made games, which is what I enjoy.
They picked number 2.
Which, like, now they're one of the most respected and loved game developers. Because they showed that they were willing to put their money where their mouth is. They showed that they respected, like, the player. They showed that they cared about what the player thought. And I think that was a clear message they sent when they gave away all these updates for free. I think the last update, I can't remember, but I think they said they're going to do one DLC for paid, I think. But all of the updates to getting it to where they did, all of his promises included. I think they're still missing like 1 or 2 things, but literally pretty much everything is there. And that's amazing.
So, here's the plan. The team is assigned to fixing bugs and the most obvious problems. Go. Sean tells the team to stop reading all the overwhelmingly negative feedback.
Yeah, literally, he says, stop looking at that, work on the game. Completely ignore it. We don't care about what they're saying now. We want to see what they say after.
On the game, and he reroutes all of it to his personal devices.
And that's what's crazy. He took all the hate. He's like, I kind of caused some of this. I'll defend my team.
Emails, forum posts, Google News alerts, player feedback, it's all going directly to him now. Then he starts breaking that down into data sets. People who haven't bought the game, people who have bought it and played it for 100 hours, people who have returned it, etc. Then he starts compiling those complaints into usable data, focusing on the people with the most sincere experience of the game.
Which is what you should do. Don't look at all the hate. Don't look at all the, like, the funny stuff and the memes. Just look at what honestly is the problem. Fix that first.
Then we start making a big laundry list of all the things that need adding and prioritizing. First thing to fix is that full inventory. Then community mod support. Then a third thing, etc., etc. This is going to take an enormous amount of work to pull off, and they're not going to make the same mistake twice.
He didn't even do public relations because he knew that, like, he was just going to get more hate. So he's like, no, focus on what I
So
can
they
do.
would need to sharply adjust their PR strategy. Anything they said right now, an admission of guilt,
I've made a severe,
would be met with criticism. Denial, it's not that bad, would be met with criticism. Corporate speak, well, we endeavored to make the best game we could and we are proud of what we have, would be met with criticism. Half of the problems have been caused by speaking too much. So they were going to do a complete 180. Instead of adding more fuel to the fire, instead of accidentally promising fixes that might also not be delivered, they wouldn't speak to the press again.
Female traits you're talking about, I'd say that's a generalization, but you...
They were going to speak to the community directly from now on. So they told the audience they were working on it and went,
That's what I'm saying. Like, now it's got pretty much everything that he promised. I think there's like, if I remember correctly, they're still missing like 1 or 2 things, but it's like small things in comparison to what they brought.
completely silent. 1 day passed. No word.
I think it took, was it like 3 weeks
2
or something
days.
for the first update?
A week. Have you heard from Hello Games? They just had this disastrous release. Nope, haven't seen them. I hope they're working on the game. 2 weeks. Dude, are you working on this thing? Just ignore them, just work. 3 weeks. Okay, what the fuck is going on?
WTF, it's locked.
A month. They took the fucking money and ran, didn't they? Didn't say anything, it's not going to help. 2 months.
Yeah, it was a
3
long time
months.
before they came out. Yeah, they did bring a lot of stuff they didn't promise.
By now, most people were convinced that the game was abandoned. They had made their money. It's all over. Then, after over 100 days of absolute silence, a tweet. Foundation. The first big patch. It is me, Sean. No, go away, Sean. I am mad at you. It has been too long. But I bring you gifts. His accent sucks.
You're so bad at the accent.
Base building, new game modes, farming, camps, and freighters, as well as a lot of bug fixes. You will have to try harder than that, Sean, to win my love back. It still fell well shy of the promised game.
But it's free.
Too little, too late. So Sean left, returned to his team, and got back to work. A few more months went by, and then another tweet. Pathfinder.
I think Pathfinder is the one that started bringing people back. I'm gonna be honest. They're like, okay, it looks like they're trying here. Why is he doing this joke?
What the fuck? Oh, it's you, Sean. I bring you online base sharing, own multiple starships, starship specialization, multi-tool specialization and classes, permadeath modes, vehicles you can drive around in, and create racetracks for them too with time trials. Look at this. Okay, that's pretty good, but I'm still mad, and there's still a ton promised that isn't in the game yet. So Sean went away once more. A few more months went by. Knock, knock. Oh, it's you, Sean. What is it now? I bring you an overhaul to the story.
I think that one was the big one. Atlas Rises is the one I heard about the most. I heard so many people were like,
new worlds, crashed freighters, space combat, terrain editing, portals, procedural mission system, interstellar trading, and joint exploration. By now, people were really starting to warm to No Man's Sky again. And to Hello Games.
The game has, in many ways, exceeded what was promised.
It's a substantially better game now.
No Man's Sky is back, baby!
People saw this was an honest effort to fix the game.
Yeah, this is when a lot of people fully accepted it, that they were trying. They're like, we'll give you a chance.
And the number of employees working on it was growing, from a studio of 15 to 25. Sean Murray and Hello Games social media also started becoming more active and engaging with the audience. The subreddit was flourishing once more. The price of the game secondhand on Amazon, eBay, and GameStop was going up. Then a few more months
I got it at $10.
went by. Next, a really big patch.
Like, I'm serious. If he asked for money on the last update, I'll do it.
Oh my god.
Because I heard that apparently there's gonna be an update, but I think they're doing the Terraria thing where it's always last update and then they update again.
I just got goosebumps.
To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not fuck that. Here's the full and proper multiplayer experience. Ringed planets, third-person mode, character customization, a galactic atlas on an external website for the community, vast overhauls to base building and crafting and resources, And it also brought the game to Xbox. In fact, with the release of Next in July 2018, No Man's Sky was the 6th top-selling console game for the month. It climbed its way back into Steam's top 10. It reached nearly 100,000 concurrent players. It brought another $24 million across all platforms. Their Steam rating went from mixed to very positive. People were getting back on board in a big way. But they weren't done yet. Better creatures, weird underwater shit, discoveries in bases and environments and equipment, and it keeps going. New biomes, more diversity, archaeology, more things to discover. By now, Sean in the gaming inspector, personification of the gaming community, had literally...
What's hilarious is this game is literally what Starfield promised. Not as much money, and it's better.
...really patched things up, and were making out on the couch. Which was when he released his biggest patch to date of this video.
Oh my god, huge!
Free
Beyond was huge.
VR support. Not a whole other game you have to pay for, like some titles. Overhauls to NPCs, tech trees, base building, streamlined multiplayer, ride animals around. All sorts of stuff that was never promised in the first place.
Yeah, like,
and
this
still
is
adding
like
more stuff.
tons of stuff never
Someone
promised.
at Valve, who was a fan of the game, said to me, what you do now is more important than what you say. There's only one thing that's credible, and that's your actions.
In fact, I was
And what's hilarious is a lot of game companies have apparently ignored that.
To get this video out that they put out another patch the other day with
They do
ship
the
building,
exact
ship
opposite.
upgrading, more advanced terrain editing, first-person exocross, improved VR, improved base building and inventory management, and quality of life stuff. It goes on. Is it perfect? Technically, there are still things on this spread.
Yeah, like kind of. Like a lot of these things, I think a good amount of these things have been added since then.
Sheet missing. But come on now, we're starting to nitpick. Especially when you compare them to relationships with other games companies. They could have gone the route of Fallout 76. Paywall mods with Fallout First, charging a monthly fee, a down...
Which I will never pay for mods. Unless I'm personally having the mod designed. Or I'm supporting a modder that I loved their mods. Which is what I'll do. Which I've done.
Would spiral more and more into pay-to-win scraps released without QA testing. But instead, they never added pay-to-win. They never added microtransactions or paid DLC.
Nope.
They never made VR as a second game. They didn't give up on the game or scale their resources back to do it. They didn't come out and call all gamers entitled. They didn't add loot boxes. They didn't start work on the next big project or sequel. They didn't do much of anything except get back to work. And just like
that. Yeah, I'm
that...
going to be commissioning... I'm going to look into one of the artists of one of our viewers that does Darkest Dungeon mods, and we're going to get a few Darkest Dungeon mods made for chat.
The game, once panned by critics, now had awards rolling in.
Your developed star 2019, No Man's Sky, Sean Murray.
No Man's Sky next.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky's next.
No Man's Sky.
And to cap it all off, the subreddit No Man's Sky the Game even got together and pooled money for a GoFundMe to have a billboard installed near the Hello Games offices.
Which is super sweet.
It must have been a harrowing moment for Sean and the team. They took a huge risk to start a small studio. They clawed their way up to create one of the most notable games of the console generation. Disappointed pretty much everyone with the release, and took one of the biggest online beatings in video game history for it.
Which is crazy as compared to some of these companies.
Family, post-release, we faced some really difficult challenges. Everything that you can imagine from like the worst of the internet, we hit.
But then over the course of the next 3 years, completely turned it around and came out the other side with a win.
Which, by the way, I'll show y'all after
It's the underdog story. And after doing all of this research, I couldn't help but come to the conclusion that they were the good guys. So what is the future for Hello Games? In 2017, they announced Hello Labs, a support program focused on original titles and games using procedural generation. Two of the team also branched off to work on a small title called The Last Campfire. But for the foreseeable future, they're just working on No Man's Sky. Alright, I didn't want to finish the video on like a big sappy note. So, this is the end of the story, but there's still another few minutes. Don't leave, it's not an ad. Okay, in 2015, when the hype was at its peak, someone wrote a Sean Murray erotic fanfiction, and naturally, I assumed that you lot would want to see it. So, here it is.
No.
My evening interview at Hello Games.
Please no.
I arrived at the Hello Games office in the early evening as the sun
Chat, do I have to watch this?
was approaching the horizon. Taking a deep breath, I nervously pressed the doorbell. The door opened, and Sean poked his expressive face out to greet me. "Hey you," he exclaimed in his adorable British-Australian accent. "I'm so happy you could make it and spend the evening with us." "I was so happy when I heard you agreed to let me come in for an interview," I said. "Oh yeah, the interview. I forgot," he replied with his usual brilliant humor. I laughed. "You're so funny, Sean. Let me show you my office." "I have a surprise for you," Sean said. He led me to the room where we sat down on a soft vinyl couch. "So let me show you the surprise," he said, softly. "It's the newest build of the game. We just added some new features." He booted up the game on a PS4 in his office.
"Leave. Let chat suffer by having to go to the video themselves."
I like your beard. It's sexy," I pretended to say to him in my head to myself. I had a secret crush on him. There was something about his humble demeanor and feeble yet handsome bone structure that was so alluring. "So here's the game," he said eagerly. It opened on an alien world just calling out to be explored. I began to sweat. Here it finally was,
What
in
Thomas
front of
said.
me in all of its glory, and it was being played by Sean in front of me in all of his glory. I nervously spoke. "Could I try playing?" I said. "Oh, I suppose, of course," he said, chuckling. But another few minutes passed without him handing me the controls. "Sean," I said more confidently. I put my hands on his hands as he gripped the controller. He looked me straight in the eyes. I stared deep into his beautiful, glistening eyes, utterly transfixed. "Sure," he said. He let go of the PlayStation controller, still sweaty from his firm grip. "But I have another surprise to show you." He stood up.
Redacted,
he muttered. "Yes, please," I said, blushing as red as the treetops of Aurea 5. He grabbed my shoulders, guiding me confidently towards the coffee table, like he confidently guides the Hello Games team towards the game's release. The one true Sean Murray, not that baby-faced loser asshole poser from NCIS. Made sweet, sweet love to me. I wasn't sure what I was more excited about. Finally,
redacted,
Sean Murray, all finally playing No Man's Sky. After exploring the planet's surface, I entered my spaceship and took off. Just as I left the atmosphere and burst into the breathtaking expanse of space.
redacted.
It was an out-of-world experience.
Please make it stop. Please Boka the Baka, I beg you make it stop.
Oculus Rift support, he uttered sensually. As I turned, I saw Sean's avatar standing before me in a
My head
beautiful,
hurts now,
procedurally generated spacesuit. "Like what you see," he said. "It's time, everybody," he shouted. I heard footsteps slowly enter from the cramped office. I soon saw many spacesuits appear before me in-game. But as they took off their helmets, I realized that they were all the same Sean Murray avatar. I was about to be
redacted
by a group of Sean Murrays, but they all had one difference. The
redacted.
Each piece
redacted
was different. There were wide ones, thin ones.
You're all messed up. You're all messed up. That was funny, but you're all messed up. You're all messed up. I want it known. Alright, like I was going to show you guys. Went from overwhelmingly negative to very positive.
I am the edge.
On both. They've had... They won that award too. But... And then Light No Fire is supposed to be coming. It's supposed to be a new one. But, as you can see, and then that one, and that one, and that one, that one, and that one. Oh yeah, they already had the update I was thinking of. That was the last one I just saw. A drift expedition. I think there's like... Let me see if I can get to it. The last one he showed you guys was... This one. Expeditions. At sea, prisons, frontiers, emergence, beachhead, sentinel, expedition, outlaws, the blighted, Leviathan, endurance. Like, this game is a masterclass in showing respect and like appreciation for your players. Like, I would say get this game. I haven't played it yet, but like it's been sitting there and it's ready to be played. I do wish they had Steam mod support, but I can go on the mod sites. But yeah, really good. Very good, very good.